What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. My name is Cory, and this is going to be your daily stock market technical analysis update. Stocks continue to go higher, and the question is, how high are stocks going to go until we finally start seeing some selling? So first up, let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500 SPY ETF. So let's crack open this chart and see what's going on in the stock market today. Alright, so on the S&P 500 SPY ETF, we did see the price action going up 0.29% today. So we're still getting bullish price action over the 5 EMA, and we still have this really strong bullish trend. So with the strong bullish price action and the strong bullish trend, my price target remains up here at $377 on the SPY ETF. Now there's one thing I really have on my mind tonight, and I want you all to hear this from a fellow bull. When we're going to new all-time highs, you really don't want to be overly leveraged on weekly options. I know a lot of you are making a lot of money buying weekly call options, but the higher the stock market goes, the more likely we're going to start seeing some volatility and some selling. So if you're not buying enough time on your contracts, or you just don't have any cash on the sidelines, you really need to start locking in some profits and becoming more disciplined the higher the stock market goes. That's one of the biggest parts about being a disciplined trader, is knowing when to take profits and knowing when to have some cash on the sidelines as the market continues to go higher. Remember, unrealized gains are not profits. You gotta sell to lock those in, and then maintain some cash, because it is likely that we could see some selling at these levels. Now, I'm not getting bearish. All bull markets have selling and have corrections, and that's healthy. The stock market just can't go up in a straight line forever. So on our way to 377, just be disciplined and don't expect it to be smooth sailing. There will be some bull shakeouts, and there will be some volatility and some selling likely before we get to that target. However, with the bullish price action and the bullish trending, there's nothing to be worried about longer term. Until we start seeing the chart reverse from bullish price action and bullish trending, there's no reason to be bearish on this market. Now, we are finding support continually at the 5 EMA, and that shows that we're in a really strong bull market. So watch that 5 EMA as possible support, and if we do start breaking below the 5 EMA, we should be finding support at the 13 EMA, and we also have the gap below at 363. It's not likely that we're gonna close this gap with this strong bullish trend that we're in, so watch these moving averages, because they will likely be the strongest support levels while we continue to run up higher. Next up is the Nasdaq 100 QQQs ETF, and again, we still have really bullish price action, and we did find support at that 5 EMA intraday today. So we're still closing above the 5 EMA for pretty much 10 days in a row now, and we still have a really strong bullish trend on the Nasdaq 100. So our price target above on the QQQs ETF is $312, and it's the same exact message I have for you on the S&P 500. Don't expect us to get there in a straight line just going up each and every day. There will likely be a couple days of selling on the way there. So position yourselves to be in an opportunity where you can buy the dip and not get wiped out because you're over leveraged in this market. As disciplined traders, you want to lock in those profits, and you want to position yourselves for buying the next opportunity. On the Nasdaq 100 QQQs, the farthest I could see us dipping is $300 before we find very strong support levels. So watch the 5 EMA, the 13 EMA, and that $300 level. On the Dow Jones DIA ETF, we continue to close above the 5 EMA, and we're back to trading above our previous all-time high at $300. So we're getting bullish price action and bullish trends across all three indices, which is telling us that we're likely going into a secular bull market. When all three indices are going to new all-time highs and showing signs of a bull market, it's likely that that bull market is not going to stop dead in its tracks and start reversing to a bear market. So pay attention to the price action and the trend, and remember that the trend is your friend, so don't be trying to short this market just because it's going higher. And as bulls, don't be over leveraged at all-time highs. Be disciplined and follow the trend, and you're going to make nice steady profits the entire time. Next up is the ARKK ETF, and we see the ARKK doing something very similar, going back up, closing way above the 5 EMA in a really strong bullish trend. Now this ETF is absolutely starting to look like it's reaching a top, and it is looking very overbought. So my price target on ARKK is up here around 124 to 125, and I do think that that will be a temporary top for this ETF, and we could see selling that brings us down to close this gap at 117 or our support trend line around 116. So those are the support levels that I'm looking to pick up some ARKK. But as far as this price action, it's looking a little too parabolic, and it looks like it's going up too much in a straight line for my liking. So yes, it does have a couple more percent before it gets to my price target, but I'm more of an opportunist waiting for a dip to enter into ARKK, and it looks like the right level is going to be somewhere around that $117. Next up is the VIX, which is our fear indicator, and we see the VIX going down almost minus 3% today and closing back below our support level at 21.3. So I say this every single night, and when the VIX is going lower, we're likely to see the stock market continue to head higher. So I don't see any trend shifting in the VIX. We see a bearish trend with all of the moving averages and the price action closing below the 5 EMA. So bearish price action and bearish trending on the VIX, we're likely heading back down to a VIX level of 18. A low VIX is low fear, which is bullish for the stock market. Next up is the US dollar, and we did get that dead cat bounce, but you can see it was in no meaningful manner. We're still trading below the 5 EMA, and we still have a really strong bearish trend. So the dollar is likely just having a dead cat bounce before it continues its bearish trend downward, and a weak dollar is going to continue to be bullish for the stock market. On gold, we see that weak dollar is doing great things for gold, and gold is basically going up in a nice impulsive move to the upside. So it is likely that gold is starting the beginning of a bull rally, and we're seeing the moving averages start to stack to the bull side. The 5 EMA is breaking above the 13 and the 20, and we're starting to see the 13 break above the 20. So the next step is starting to watch these moving averages break back above the 50 EMA, and that's going to let us know that gold is going into a long-term sustainable bull rally. My resistance level on gold is up here at 1930 and support is down here at 1860. On silver, we see a really nice bullish trend developing and we see it picking up momentum. So wait for that 13 to cross above the 50 for confirmation, and our price target and resistance on silver is up here at $25, which it looks like we should be getting there in no time flat. On Bitcoin, we did reach my price target at 19.6K, and we're starting to find resistance and consolidation ever since we've gotten there. The price action is now closing below the 20 simple moving average, and if we start to see the 5 EMA cross below the 13 EMA, it could mean that the short-term bull trend is ending and we're starting to see a bear trend. I pointed this out last night, and we are seeing volume drying up on Bitcoin, which is not a good sign. That means there's not a whole lot of buyers of Bitcoin at these levels, and without buyers, we're not likely to see Bitcoin break through this resistance level. So I'm still watching Bitcoin, and I'm looking at a possible opportunity to buy it off of the 50 EMA, which is somewhere around $16,500. On Apple stock, we got really bullish price action closing back above the 5 EMA yet again, and we're starting to see this bullish trend pick up momentum. Now we are finding resistance at my price target of $124, but if we can break and close above 124, that should become support level, and we should be heading up for my next price target of $136. So Apple is that market moving stock, and if it breaks above 124, it could bring the rest of the market along with it. On financials, we're still closing above the 5 EMA, and we still have a really strong bull trend. On industrials, we're still closing over the 5 EMA, and the bull trend is still very strong. On the healthcare sector, we're still closing over the 5 EMA as well, and we see the bull trend picking up momentum with the 13 EMA starting to break away from the 20. So going back to the S&P 500, we still see bullish signs all over the stock market with a low VIX and a weak dollar, and bullish sectors across the board with bullish price action and bullish trending. So my price target remains at 377, but expect some volatility before we get there and position yourselves to take advantage of the opportunity. And remember, if you get bored in the stock market, you can always go over there and chase some hot stocks. Alright, first up is my Tesla bulls, and I know you had a really rough day today with the price action only going up 1.27%. Now my price target was $647, and we barely closed above that today, closing up right around $650. So I usually like to wait for a confirmation and a follow through of that close, so I would like to see one more close over $647 to verify that we're likely heading to $690. But I'm not sure the Tesla bulls care at this point, and I'm pretty confident that we're likely going to see $690. Now with $690 being so close to $700, it's likely that the Tesla bulls are just going to drive this thing up to $700. Now I can't stress it enough, there is definitely a lot of risk in this stock, and it has come a long way in a very short amount of time. So if you're not already in this stock, I definitely don't suggest trying to chase it and buy in now. Just go look for another opportunity, because this hot stock has already sailed and it's likely going to fizzle out into the sunset any day now. There's a lot of downside potential in Tesla when it finally tops out. The question is, where is the top? I'm not going to pretend to know the exact price target that Tesla is going to hit when it finally reaches the top, but I do have some ideas, and that's some of these numbers that you're looking at right here. So let's go ahead and round 690 up to 700, and let's go ahead and call that our next price target. But in order to get to 700, we're going to need some price action above 650, and we're going to need to hang around this area for a little bit to give us a base to build off of. You can see the 5 EMA is going up basically in a straight line, and it's starting to look a little parabolic. So usually these parabolic moves end with a parabolic move to the downside, which is why I don't suggest chasing this. Now if you're in Tesla, go ahead and ride it out, but don't be afraid to take some profits as it continues to head higher. So with a little bit of consolidation around 650, I'm going to go ahead and raise the price target on Tesla to $690 to $700. Next up is NIO stock, and we still see NIO somewhat in a wave 4, and it looks like it needs to consolidate a little bit longer and start building a support level base somewhere around the low 40s. Now, if I jump over to a 1 hour chart, it does look like NIO broke out to the upside, but it really didn't take advantage of that move and it just went sideways for the rest of the day. So this could be a false breakout, so I wouldn't suggest chasing it. And there is resistance up here around $50. So if you're watching NIO and you're waiting to get in, watch these levels very closely, because if it starts breaking down below 45 and it fails to break above 50, we could be heading lower. So back to a daily chart, our support levels are at $41, $39, and $36. The 50 EMA is also starting to catch up to the price action, which is bullish because we could also find support at that 50 EMA. So the higher that 50 EMA gets, the more likely it's going to start getting into this range of the $40 to $41 level, which is also support. So NIO did go a little too far too fast, and it's starting to pay for it, and it's starting to cool off and consolidate, which is exactly the timing to finish our wave 4 heading into a wave 5. So the time will come to get bullish on NIO, but I'm not quite there yet, and I think it has a little more cooling off to do before I would be a buyer of this stock. Next up is Palantir stock, and it did look like it was going to have a good day at the open, but it just flushed out all day and turned into a Palantir. If I change this over to a line chart, you can see that we did find resistance at the previous closing all-time high. Closing highs are very important because what happens intraday is a lot less important than what happens at a closing price. So if we look at this chart again, we can see we failed to close above $29. So it is still a possibility that Palantir is still in this ABC correction, and we're likely going to see $21 yet again. Now, it's no guarantee that we have to finish wave C down at $21, so you could also be watching the $24 level as a possible support. But below 24, we should head back to 21, which is also right around where that 20 simple moving average is starting to catch up. So this stock did go parabolic, and it's starting to consolidate, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Palantir's price action heading back into the low 20s. Next up is Twilio stock, and I absolutely love this stock, and I'm extremely bullish on it. And I did say last night that it closing right above the 13 EMA was a buying opportunity. If you bought this dip, it paid off immediately because Twilio went up over 3.7% today and closed up above the 5 EMA. My price target on Twilio remains at 338, and a close above 338 will send us up to 373. This chart looks extremely bullish, which you can see with the bullish trend on the moving averages, and we're holding up above support levels. So the price action on Twilio is looking really bullish above the 5 EMA, and the trend is looking like it's gaining bullish momentum, so I'm looking for Twilio to get the 338 price target in a flash. Next up is DraftKings stock, and DraftKings stock had a very volatile roller coaster ride of a day, and that's why it's very important to understand the technical analysis and watch the chart. So the number one thing to note on DraftKings is we do have a bullish trend. All of these moving averages are stacked to the bull side, so it is absolutely a buy the dip scenario with this stock. As you can see on the daily chart, we dipped all the way down to the 50 EMA, and a lot of bulls started to sell because they thought this thing was going down to zero. That's exactly what the smart money wants you to think, and you can see they stepped in a big way and drove the price all the way up from the 50 EMA to close over 6% on the day. Now, the interesting part about the DraftKings close is we did close in a breakout fashion. Jumping over to a 1 hour chart, you can see that we broke out of this resistance trend line, and we're now trading above the trend. So a breakout is bullish, and we're looking for a test of the breakout as support somewhere around that $50 range and continue to our price target of $54. So DraftKings had a roller coaster ride of a day, but if you're following the chart and you know the technicals, you know not to trade on emotion, and we don't trade on emotion, and we don't sell on support. So buy the dip on support levels and sell the rip on resistance levels, and we're not at resistance yet because we're not at our price target of $54. So there's still more upside to DraftKings, and it's going to remain a hot stock because it did pass the test today and it did explode off of its support level. Next up is Boeing stock, and this stock is absolutely bullish because you can see how strong this bullish trend is, and the price action continues to close over the 5 EMA. With a strong bullish trend like this, it's absolutely a buy the dip stock, and we want to try to buy it off of the 5 EMA, which is right around 232, or the support, which is the previous breakout at 230. My next price target on Boeing is up at 260. So there's still a lot of upside on Boeing stock, and it's likely going to remain a hot stock and a high flyer. Our next hot stock is not quite a hot stock just yet, but it does look like it's getting ready to run. So on Nvidia stock, we're looking at the price action closing right above that 20 simple moving average, but more importantly, we're starting to get a bullish trend developing. The 5 EMA is over the 13, and the 13 is over the 20, and that 20 simple moving average is over the 50. So we do have a bullish stack up momentum trend building, and if Nvidia's price action can start closing above 545 and 547, the bullish breakout will start, and we're going to start running on Nvidia. So I'm bringing Nvidia to you as an early start to a hot stock because it's likely going to start running. Now, I do this on the Stocks Channel Discord server for a lot of other stocks, so if you're looking for a trading community, there is the Stocks Channel Discord, which you can find out how to join in the description of the video below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to take your profits, don't get greedy, and have some cash on the sidelines to buy the dip. I hope you're all killing it in this market and making a lot of profits, and as always, I will see you in the next episode.